Am I wrong for refusing to be a bridesmaid in my sister's wedding? I, 24 female, have a sister, 28 female, Lexi. Lexi and I used to be really close and she was basically my best friend. However, around 7 or 8 months ago, I found out my boyfriend, Jonah, was cheating on me with her. And now they're getting married in August. Ew, so weird, so disgusting. We hadn't talked since then until she called me the other day asking me if I would be one of her bridesmaids. I told her I didn't want to do that and she was messed up for even asking that. She said that it would mean a lot to her since I'm her only sister. It didn't mean a lot to you when you were sleeping with her boyfriend, like what, the double standard? She also told me that she already bought the dress. Then said I would be letting her down and wasting the money she spent on the dress. I said that just because she bought me a dress doesn't mean I have to be in her wedding. Okay, this is already, from reading that little, she's already a manipulative piece of shit. Okay, keep this woman out of your life. You don't need her. Like, move on. She's dead to you. She started crying and telling me how I was being insensitive and holding a grudge against her. Yeah, because you, disgusting. Why would you sleep? Why would you look at your sister's boyfriend like that? Like, that's so weird to me. I tried to tell her that I was sorry, but she didn't listen and hung up. Wait. Why would you apologize? The fudge? Why would you apologize? Now, yesterday my parents invited me over for dinner, but what I didn't know is that Lexi had called them and told them what I said. So, halfway through dinner, my mom, out of nowhere, says that I should be Lexi's bridesmaid. I told her I really didn't want to. She then said that Lexi told her what happened and that I shouldn't care about Jonah and just do it for Lexi. I said I was not going to be in a wedding with my cheating ex-boyfriend and watch him marry my sister. My dad got angry and called me selfish and kicked me out of their house. I'm sorry, why is anyone attending this wedding? Why are they okay with this? Like, is this not a problem for her to be doing that? Like, that's so... Like, why are they promoting it or acting like it's okay? Like, just get over it. My parents haven't spoken to me, neither has Lexi. I feel like a bitch now, but I also feel like I deserve to feel angry. I'm just so conflicted on what to do. Am I wrong for saying no? Absolutely not. They're gaslighting you. They're manipulating you. You were done so dirty. You were done so wrong. I'm surprised your parents are even holding this wedding or attending this wedding. If that was me, I would shun that person out completely. Like, get out. Like, you're not part of my family anymore. Like, that's... You don't do that to family or people you care about.
Am I the asshole for taking my newborn son and going to my mom's house because my husband and his mom didn't save me any food for dinner? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, female 32, gave birth to my son 5 weeks ago. My husband's mom has been camping in the living room ever since and inviting people over, making a mess in the house, and more. I said nothing because if I opened my mouth, my husband would start scolding me, saying his mom is there to help and I should be grateful. What I've been doing was ignoring her and focusing on my son. I handle feeding, diaper changes, cleaning, and wiping. I only get a few hours of sleep, so my husband's mom isn't really helping with the baby. But I thought to myself, well, at least she cooks for us. Last night, I was in the bedroom breastfeeding my son. I knew I was late for dinner, but I thought that my husband and his mom would save me a plate. Once I got done with my son, I walked out the room and saw my husband and his mom sitting and watching TV. I asked about dinner, and my husband said it was probably on the stove. Am I the asshole for taking my newborn son and going to my mom's house because my husband and his mom didn't save me any food for dinner? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I asked about dinner, my husband said it was probably on the stove. As I was walking towards the kitchen, his mom loudly said that she didn't save me any food. I was absolutely shocked. I asked her why and she simply said, well, we didn't see you at the dinner table, so I thought you weren't hungry. I lost it and yelled that I was feeding my son. Of course I was hungry, I was actually starving. She shrugged and said it wasn't her fault that I didn't show up for dinner, but she knew I was with my son and hadn't eaten anything in hours. My husband asked me not to raise my voice at his mom, but I told him he saw what happened and didn't think about me being hungry and needing food. He lashed out asking what I wanted him to do, and I said, I don't know, maybe save me some food? An argument started, so I went in the bedroom and packed a small bag for me and my son and went to my mom's. We argued at the door and he told me what I was doing was uncalled for and childish. I told him I couldn't take his mom anymore. He said I should be ashamed of myself for talking about her like that.
Hi, I'm a tattoo artist. I went through a pretty garbage apprenticeship. I already made one video about this, but there is so much more information, and today I'm going to tell you the worst thing that happened. One day sometime in the middle of my apprenticeship, I came into the shop and my mentor asked to talk to me. He said that there's a new challenge for me. How to deal with, I guess, a client that's a little more difficult. I didn't know what he meant. Keep in mind, if I were to refuse something on the contract that I signed, I could be in legal trouble. So I didn't know much until this guy came in. He was very much for sure on something. I don't think it was just beverages. I think it was a lot more than that. He was difficult to understand. I had maybe an hour and a half of trying to understand how to make this very small tattoo work. Finally, we figured it out, we agreed, and we got to a point where we could start tattooing. I tattooed, he was very weird and strange, but he was a nice guy. He was just a little creepy and weird. And again, he was definitely on a few things. So me as a small little tiny person, finished this small little tiny tattoo on this uncomfortable individual, and he was happy enough, and he left, and it was fine, I guess. After this, my mentor laughs, and he starts making a couple comments that I was terrified to hear. He said he gave me this client specifically because he wanted to see if this person were to assault me. He wanted to see me beat him up. He wanted to give me some old guy on drugs to see if this person would hurt me or assault me in some type of way, because he wanted an entertaining show. This was an all-female shop with a male owner. That should tell you enough of how kind of strange that is. That experience made me realize how terrible that place was. I was horrified. I was floored that someone would put me in that situation. I was like 18 years old. Great apprenticeship. Super cool. I know that apprenticeships are rough. I know that, there's always going to be all sorts of different types of clients and different situations, whatever. You should not put a young woman into that place because you want to. You want to see something happen. Fuck you. Also wanted to say that this guy that came in a couple hours before, he was crawling into the building because he couldn't stand up because of how fucked up he was. You don't tattoo someone like that. Don't put a young person in that situation. I was young. I didn't realize how bad it was. I really didn't.
My sister had a miscarriage 5 years ago, and she has been unable to bear a child since then, and I know this is causing a strain on her marriage. Now, my sister is my best friend, and we don't keep secrets from each other. I am 15 years old, and I just finished junior high. Now, I made some bad decisions a few months ago and got pregnant. I knew right away I didn't want to keep the baby, so I didn't even bother telling the guy who impregnated me. And the only person I told about this was my sister. I told her I didn't want to keep the baby, but she told me babies are a gift from God, so I should think twice before I make my decision. But I knew I was too young to bear a child. I had a lot of things I wanted to achieve before I even think of giving birth. So I still insisted I didn't want to keep the baby. Now, later that evening, I received a call from my sister, and she said she had come up with a solution. She wanted me to give birth so that she can adopt my baby, and then I can do whatever I wanted to do with my life. Now, after thinking about this, I realized I was not okay with this. I didn't want to wait a whole year before I go back to school. I was very small and tiny, and I felt my body was not ready to bear a child. After all, I was only 15 years old. So I told my sister I just didn't want to go through with the pregnancy. And I thought she would understand, but she got very angry. She told me she had already told her husband and they had both agreed to keep the child. And I felt like she had betrayed my confidence. She didn't have any right to tell her husband something I told her in secret. She broke down in tears and told me her husband might leave her this time around if I refused. And I really don't want to go through with this pregnancy. And I really regret telling her about it. When I still refused, she told my mom about it. Fortunately, my mom is cool and she wants me to do what I think is right for me. I have an appointment at the clinic in 2 weeks' time to take it out. And my sister has stopped talking to me. And I received a call from her yesterday saying I might be the only chance she has at having a child. She said I should stop being selfish and to think of someone else for once in my life. I miss her and I feel so drained and I feel like I've lost my best friend forever. But I still don't want to keep the baby. Am I an asshole because of this? This follower needs your advice, babes. Please drop some below.
I'm an asshole for proposing to my boyfriend a day before my sister's wedding. My partner and my 5-year anniversary was on the 21st, a day before my sister's wedding. I had decided to propose on that day to make it even more memorable. After I came home, I announced our engagement in a group chat that consisted of 6 people, my parents, sister, and her then fiance, and now husband, brother, and grandma, including my sister. Then my sister sent me a private text saying that she was hurt that I stole her thunder by proposing a day before our wedding. She said I should have at least waited until after her wedding to announce the news. I was really shocked. I was at bridesmaids the next day and she acted really cold, especially when people were actually congratulating me there. So am I the asshole?